the Cherry Hill Mall. We're going to be doing a little exploring of the Cherry Hill Mall area. Ooh, it's a windy day. It's going to be a windy video. You know, lately I've been having some bad customer service experiences, and I'm going to start off right off the bat with some good news. This is my iPad, and as you see, you can see through my iPad because I dropped my iPad and I broke my iPad. I have Apple Care. One advice I can, if I can give you any advice, if you have an opportunity to buy a warranty, buy a warranty. So I dropped my iPad, and I pay, I think it's like $4 a month for Apple Care, and it's just a really fantastic peace of mind knowing that at any time I can break this iPad and just come to this Apple store and get a new iPad. It took about 24 hours. And I just love Apple's customer service. Okay. Before, and bam, that quickly, brand new iPad. Let's go for a walk. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk this mall, and then after I get done walking this mall, and I'm going to point out every job that I have. And if it's like right here, for example, this is Go Toys and Games. I used to work for Toys R Us. Toys R Us is no longer in business, but I sort of worked in the toy industry for a while. I worked for a company called Spin Master. So I would drive around the East Coast of the United States, and I would go and merchandise air hog helicopters, tech deck skateboards, Bakugans. I made Bakugan, control car. And I was pretty good at that job. Matter of fact, that's one of the few jobs I got a pretty big promotion. I was a district regional manager. I was in charge of all the salespeople from Maine to Washington, D.C., and I would travel the country. So I did that for a while. I quit that job. They gave me a promotion. They didn't give me much of a pay raise, and the workload doubled. It just wasn't worth it. So I quit. Toys R Us, I quit because I was in a bad car accident, and I couldn't do the job. It's a very physical job. One of the worst jobs I ever had was working for Toys R Us. Their customer service, the whole way they made money was they were just cutting jobs and making people do as much work as they possibly can in an 8-hour shift. And like they would only have one cashier, and like it was just, and they wanted you to sell credit cards. That's the whole scam. They all want everybody to sign up for a credit card to get everybody in debt. Didn't pay. So if you don't know me too well, I've had over 60 jobs in my lifetime. I have a few mental conditions, but one of there's something in my brain that if I work at a place and I feel like they're taking advantage of me, I just quit. I quit. I never go back. Like one of the jobs I had recently was I worked at a fancy clothing store. I worked at a place called Boyd's. And I don't think they would sell Hugo Boss. That's a step down, but they would sell fancy clothing. And they gave me a job, and they didn't give me a pay raise, but they wanted my workload to get a little bit bigger. And after a while, they wanted me to do more than everybody down in the basement. They wanted me to do stock and inventory and all this shipping and receiving stuff, plus work customer service. So I would have to bring a change of clothes to work because I was doing 2 jobs and I never got a pay raise. And then finally I was like, look, you got to give me a pay raise. And they're like, no. And then I said, well, eat a bag of dicks. And I quit. I was there for 4 years. You dumb bastards. That's no such thing as a schooner. A schooner is a sailboat. Well, guess what? Easter Bunny's not real. Now this is the Cherry Hill Mall. I've actually worked in this mall. I work in this mall. In like 2004, I worked at the GameStop. I think I might have worked at the electronics boutique. See, I quit GameStop. All right, here's the thing. I worked for Hollywood Video, right? So I worked at Hollywood Video for 4 years. I was really good at that job. I was the store manager of the year for Hollywood Video. I was, I liked movies, and there was also video games at the time because you were renting video games and you were renting movies. And then one day my store was robbed at gunpoint while I was on vacation, and they accused me of robbing my store at gunpoint, and I didn't do that. So whenever a company accuses you of robbing them at gunpoint, you have to quit. So I quit, which didn't look good, which made me look even more guilty, but listen, I got standards. So I quit Hollywood Video, and I went to GameStop, and that's right up here. I worked at the GameStop at the Cherry Hill Mall. I worked here for about a month. I was trained by this guy, laziest pile of shit I ever worked for. When I was a retail manager, I was kind of one of those people. I would say, I would never ask you to do a job that I wouldn't do. I would never ask you to, if I'm going to ask you to scrub the toilets, I'm going to scrub the toilets. And this guy was just a lazy pile of shit, and he would just sit in his office and fucking do nothing all day while everybody else was busy working. And I only worked with the guy for a month. Fucking hate him. I don't know how exactly safe this mall is. I am walking around with a $400 camera and an iPod. Not an iPod, an iPad. Yeah, so this is where GameStop was. Hated my time here. Hated working for that guy. Hated working for GameStop. GameStop is one of the worst companies to work for. I hate the fact that they made all that money in the stock market. I hate that they were the company that profit. Like, you know how everybody said, screw you to the hedge fund managers, and they all bought GameStop stock, and they all made money. Pisses me off. I wish they would have picked Annie Ann's pretzels. But or actually, you know what? No, this was the GameStop. I can tell by the walls. This was the GameStop. Right down, not too far, was the EB Games. One of the things they would make you do at GameStop is you would have to sell Game Informer magazine. I would lay up at night worrying that if my employees could get an add-on sale of a Game Informer magazine. If you ever went to GameStop, they always try to get you to do game reservations, and they try to get you to do buy the magazine. I don't think they do. I mean, the magazines even exist anymore. You okay? You want help? Do you need help? Everybody hold their hand. We'll just hold their hand, all of us. Come on. Let's go help her. She can't get down the steps. Come on. You want to go down? I'll hold your hand. We'll do it together. No? You sure? We can do this. Okay. Well, we try. We're trying. I mean, we're being nice. Huh? These guys. So I worked for GameStop for a bit, and then I got a new district manager. I was hired by this lovely woman, Donna, one of the best people I ever worked for. And then I got a new district manager, and it always sucks when you work in retail and you get a new boss when you're very comfortable with your last boss. And the guy was really, he was such a dickhead about magazines. He wanted everybody to sell magazines. and they want everybody to get reservations. And one of the things they want people to get reservations for is because that's free money for the company. The company just like, I think there was like a number, like 35% of the people who reserve games never pick them up. Like, that's a stat they keep. That's how dirty that business is. And so I left GameStop because of my district manager. I was like, fuck this guy. This guy stinks. So then I went to EB Games. And when I went to EB Games, I was there for about 8 months. And then guess what? GameStop bought out EB Games. I was running the GameStop in Mount Laurel, and then I quit, and I start running an electronics boutique in right outside of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Not in this mall, but one of the strip malls outside. Oh my God. I walked past one of those perfume stores, and it smelled so bad. Like it's affecting me. Give me a second. I was working for the GameStop in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and then I quit and I start working at the electronics boutique on Kings Highway, which I think is still part of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Cherry Hill, New Jersey is huge. So I was running an EB in a strip mall, and then GameStop buys EB, and guess who gets to become my boss again? That guy. The reason I quit, they're going to make him my district manager. And then finally, I pulled my electronics before the buyout's complete. I talked to my manager, my district manager for electronics boutique, and I said, hey, don't you think I'm pretty good at this job? He goes, yeah, you're fine. You do everything fine, right? And that's a good assessment of my time there. I was fine. And he goes, I said, don't you think it would be, I'm an asset. Why don't we move me to another store so I don't get this guy to be my district manager again? And they talked about it, and they figured out a way to keep that guy away from me. And that's what we did. And then I stayed for about, I don't know, a few months after Electronics Boutique. When you work at Electronics Boutique, you would get commission on like, if you would sell, like they would sell scratch guard on games, they would sell warranties on phones, and you would get paid commission for selling those things. The second GameStop took over EB Games, all the commission, everything went away. It went back to being like what GameStop was. You had to sell because that was part of your job, and there was no commission. So after a few months of like noticing I'm working more hours and my paycheck is, thank you. It's just it's smaller because I'm not making the commission. I feel like I'm being slighted, so I quit. So I left GameStop, and I started, for the second time I left GameStop, and then I started selling kosher food. I wanted to stop working retail hours, so I started working for this company called DPI, and they were kind of, from my understanding, if you ever heard of Kerrygold butter, they are a product of the government of Ireland. And they wanted to get Kerrygold butter in all the supermarkets. And they found a way to get Kerrygold in is if the Irish government was somehow part of putting food in the American supermarkets, and they figured out a way with this company DPI. So I sort of worked for the government of Ireland, getting Kerrygold in supermarkets, but then there was also, I would sell kosher and organic food, and this is before organic food was a big thing. I would sell Palm Wonderful juice in the stores, and that was a pretty good gig, except that my boss, for some reason, none of my stores were anywhere near my house, and they had me traveling 450 miles a day. Well, some people were only traveling, about 450 miles, not a day, maybe every 2 days. And then there were some guys only traveling 20 miles. And I was just like, it's not really, I don't understand. And all my stores were really low stores. Like I was the low man on the pole, and they really didn't take care of me. So I quit that job. So anyway, that job, I wound up having to travel too far. My district manager was a pile of garbage, and I quit. I quit that job, and that's when I started selling toys at Spin Master, which is like a cycle. So that's about, I don't know how many jobs we did. Let's go. Toys R Us, Spin Master, the DPI, Hollywood, GameStop, Electronics Boutique, the Toys R Us. Probably like 8 or 9 jobs, and that was just one walk through the mall. I think this is good enough for a video. I'm gonna do another scooter ride. It's kind of windy though. I don't know if a scooter ride would be the best video. Who cares? So make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll sail with you later. Toodles!